Good morning and welcome to a special edition of BYOB. I'm Nola Nash.
Hello. I'm Laura Kemp, live from Mackinac Island.
This is so much fun. I'm so glad we finally are getting to see, you post pictures all the time, but it's kind of fun to actually see you hanging out where your book takes, like a lot of your book
over. Place I obsess over. And I saw that it said boys. So I thought I did bring a boy with me, but as that was going, he left. My husband was with me. So I was going to pan to my boy, but he since left. I don't know where he's going. Probably to get some phones because he has heartburn.
He's gonna have to come back. This is like waving
Eventually,
over.
Maybe he'll come back. I don't know where he's going. He's not coming back. I know, but I did have a boy. And I have books, but I have no booze.
We have no booze today. We're early this morning. I thought too late about making a mimosa, so I've got my water. I've at least got something to drink. It's a bottle. Bring your own bottle of something. It happens to be a bottle of water as opposed to booze this time, which I know is rare for me to not have my booze.
This is a very strange thing.
I know, and I know all of the ingredients to make a mimosa. I just didn't because I didn't think about it.
You were probably busy doing, adulting stuff or work stuff.
She was
thinking about making her mimosa today.
I know. I was adulting and I thought about last night. I actually had my Malibu Splash, which you guys know by now that I love. And I was drinking those and I'm going, I really should put up, I have this whole thing I had to assemble for my work laptop and monitor and lights and all this stuff. And I thought I should really do this tonight. And then I'll have to worry about it in the morning before we do our BYOB. And then I thought, no, there's too many parts, too many tools, too many things that could go horribly wrong. I'm going to have to do that in the morning after I've had a cup of coffee. So I was adulting. And decided that probably alcohol and assembly of many parts was not a good idea. So
there was a funny magnet I saw at my favorite store. My favorite store in Mackinac is called Cattywampus, and it's kind of a novelty store. And they have these funny magnets, and one said, "Adulthood is the worst hood I've ever lived in." So it was so funny.
I love it. I give it 1 star. Do not recommend.
1 star. Yeah.
1 star. Do not recommend adulting. I just don't.
And I'm wearing my slicker because up to about 15 minutes ago it was raining. And my husband said, take your slicker off. And I go, no, this is Mackinac. They sell these everywhere. There are always people walking around in rain slickers because here in the Straits, we're kind of between where the mitten hits the Upper Peninsula. I'm right in the middle of Lake Huron where all that stuff. So the weather comes in really quick and it blows away really quick. So it's not uncommon to see people with slickers in their back pockets. And then within a few minutes, usually it's gone because everything blows through real quick here. So I thought I'll leave the slicker on.
Yeah. Hey, Sharon. Sharon's here. She visited Mackinac a couple of weeks ago. Nice. So Laura, the slicker, a totally common sight in New Orleans as well. Down there in the subtropics, we're always getting rained on, and you see all kinds of things like shredded slickers from the wind, and then umbrellas blown inside out.
Hurricane slickers, right? What we call
yes, we went down. It was what was it? It was Patricia. It was hurricane that became tropical storm Patricia by the time it hit Louisiana. And we were down there with an exchange student from Mallorca, Spain. And they never get rain. It's this island off the coast of Spain. And so we bring him to New Orleans as tropical storm Patricia hit the city.
So, he got a big old dose of the USA.
He was such a great sport, though. We were in our slickers. We were just like that in ponchos, but the wind was blowing the rain sideways. So our purses were soaked through. It was absolutely wet. And he's just grinning. He's like, this is great. He didn't care. We Camden bought an umbrella at CVS, opened it up as he walked out the door, and it blew inside out and blew to pieces. It was literally had it 5 seconds. And the tropical
don't last long here, do they?
No, they don't. So the slickers are the way to go, even in New Orleans during a tropical storm. So tell us about where you are and what's behind you.
Well, okay. So I picked this location kind of because it's secluded and there's a lot of fudgies that come to the island on Saturdays. Fudgies are people like tourists. I guess I'm one of them. I don't really consider myself one since I come here a lot. I'm just for the fudge and the horse
Just for
poop.
the
So this is kind of tucked away. And it also has a spot behind me that is in snow and summer. This is the deck of the Pink Pony. You're gonna see my forehead for a minute here. This is where Justine and Troy have their little dance. And this is a place where you can eat. There are lights in the evening that light up. Kind of a romantic spot. I think we might go here for my husband's birthday tomorrow night. And now I'm kind of walking,
dodging goose poop.
Yeah, there's a lot of goose poop here on the ground.
Now, you said that before we went on live, you were telling me about the goose poop and having to like walk around. You didn't want to step in goose poop. And then the next thing that we talked about, other than Scott, who was standing out there looking at the boats, was the fudgies. And so I thought fudgies were the name for the goose poop.
No,
I was like,
people.
What is she talking about?
They're people. This is the marina.
I was so confused. So I'm glad we cleared that up. Look at all those boats.
And our boat's going to be here tomorrow. My husband's bringing our boat over from St. Ignace, which is across, I don't know, somewhere, the big water. And then these are the really nice summer cottages. And one of them actually burned down, I think about a month ago. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a cupola, but there's nothing else. The whole
the top.
The whole third floor is gone. And that was
hang on, let me make you big and then we can see it better. Nope, that's still on the phone. Never mind.
Brigadoon was the name of the cottage, and it had been here for quite a while. But there's some really kind of dramatic pictures if you look on the internet about, historic cottage burning on Mackinac. You'll see pictures of it. And there was a wedding taking place next door at the yacht club when it was burning. So they actually.
I remember seeing pictures of that.
They had to leave their wedding, and there's this picture of them walking to the church to pray, which was kind of cool. And then people saw them, knew what was going on in Mission Point, which is a resort just down this road a little bit further. Totally rearranged everything and put them up, gave them their beautiful wedding reception. And they pulled it together in like 45 minutes. But that's how Mackinac is. Everybody is wonderful here. And this is the fort, if you can see past the radio tower. That's Fort Michilimackinac. So there's a lot of tours and stuff. That was in the War of 1812. This was kind of the stronghold because this is a strategic spot right here in the Straits. People have to come through here to get anywhere on the Great Lakes. Basically, if you're going anywhere on the Great Lakes, you have to come through this tiny little spot where I am. So the fort was a big deal during the War of 1812. And there are battles and all sorts of fun stories about. I'm a history buff, so.
My favorite story about the War of 1812 is, of course, the Battle of New Orleans, which took place 2 weeks after the war. Well, yes, President Andrew Jackson led that one, and pirates also, because
pirates, your favorite.
Pirates. My pirates were there. Jean Lafitte and the Baratarians were there. His pirates. But my favorite thing about it is there's this massive battle, and pirates and the Americans beat the British 2 weeks after the war ended.
We're like, what?
They didn't know it was over. Nobody knew because they signed the treaty overseas. I know they didn't have that.
How history would be different with social media. I always thought it would be fun to go back and reimagine all of these famous historical events with cell phones.
Yeah, things would be so different. I mean, I thought it was really weird because you've got the British and the Americans, and they signed the treaty for the War of 1812 in Europe. But the fighting is happening in the United States. So
it takes a little while for information to cross the Atlantic Ocean.
It's like in Belgium or something. And I'm like, well, no wonder they didn't know it was over.
Now they just tweeted it. And it would have been done. But think of the people that died that didn't have to.
I know.
That's actually
it was really sad. There were a lot of casualties in that battle that were completely unnecessary. And a lot of damage to the city and things like that just needless. But I mean, what are you going to do? It's history. There were, I'm sure, a lot of battles that were fought after wars were over, but just, the way that one played out, it's such a great story, the Battle of New Orleans, but
after. That's your next book.
It's really kind of cool. It'll a little bit of the story will trickle into the third book of the Crescent City series because Jean Lafitte and his Baratarians.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait for that book to get my hands on and then read it.
Yeah, it's long after the Battle of New Orleans, but because Jean Lafitte was part of that, there are some comments made back and forth about Jean Lafitte's tendency to switch sides depending on which one is the
Jack Sparrow, isn't he?
He really is. He actually was Jack Sparrow. There's several pirates that they kind of drew from, but a lot of his characteristics, especially his personality and kind of how he finagled things and changed sides a lot, was Jack Sparrow. He was very much an opportunist.
That's a diplomatic way to say it.
They called themselves privateers, and
they could do whatever they wanted, right? They didn't have to be.
They kind of could, and they tended to change sides, like in the middle of things. Like they would become a privateer to legitimately and legally do something, and then they get out in the middle of it, and then decide, we'd actually make more money if we did this. So, absolutely Jack Sparrow. So if you like Jack Sparrow, Jean Lafitte is a pirate to read up on because they're very similar.
He might be your historical crush.
He is absolutely my historical crush. And they called him the gentleman pirate because he was very, very good looking, but he was tall, which people were not at that time. And he was 6 feet tall, which was unusual.
Oh, that was really tall.
Yeah, he was very tall, thin, and carried himself and dressed not like a pirate, but like a gentleman. So he could walk through the streets of the French Quarter, and he looked just like every other wealthy Frenchman there. But his hideout was actually in the Barataria swamps. But all of his other pirates dressed like pirates, but not Jean Lafitte. He had the look. He had the style.
He wanted to blend in when he needed to blend in.
Absolutely. But he was apparently, there was lots of swooning over Jean Lafitte because he is very good looking. So the gentleman pirate. Mm-hmm.
He would be too.
He's my historical crush.
Your new podcast, right? Dead Folks Tales.
Dead Folks Tales.
This is a haunted island. I was just thinking about that. We should have done a Dead Folks Tales premiere.
We absolutely should. Dead Folks Tales, even though we're New Orleans and Southern Gothic centric, we can absolutely take some field trips to the north and kind of hang out and see what's what. So I would love to do that.
If we do this again next year, I should do it from my hotel because the hotel behind me is called the Pine Cottage. And Ernest Hemingway, I believe, honeymooned there with Hadley, his first wife, long before his Cuba days. But there is something that lives in the basement there. And I was just talking to my husband about it because we were up in the pool and the pool kind of borders it. That's like an elemental type. It's like
I want to go hang out with that.
That creepy stuff that you don't want anything to do with. I know. And there's a woman upstairs that runs out of the closet, and she doesn't have like a lower half of her body. So I'm talking about this, and of course all their windows are open, and I'm going, oh yeah, that's a lady with no legs. And I thought there's like a creepy horned thing in the basement. None of these people hopefully could hear me as I was in the school. And then we got in the middle of the ghost tour because there's a ghost tours here on the island. We were in front of our hotel messing with our bike because my daughter didn't take the bike lock off, and then my son took off on the bike with the bike lock in the wheel. Oh, no. So I got stuck in it. So, and here comes the ghost tour, and I'm thinking, I wonder if they're gonna stop in front of our hotel. Like our room is like haunted. Can you imagine how that would be like if you're just, they stop in front of the hotel right next to ours and talk about one of the rooms being haunted. And I'm thinking, that was your room. But anyway, this is a haunted island. We could do a Dead Folks Tales, but that's a segue, I guess, into Dead Folks Tales too, if you want to tell us about that.
Yes. So we talk about these stories of basically it's history and hauntings of the Deep South, New Orleans primarily, because that's kind of my wheelhouse, my jam. But we talk about all the things that, the weird history, the lines between fact and fiction, and how we enjoy the fact that they're often very, very blurred. And that's the best kind of history for me. So we're going to talk about a lot of fun things, and you will be joining me in August. And Laura and I are going to talk about on the 17th of August for Dead Folks Tales, we're going to talk about the New Orleans cemeteries. Because I feel like as we're starting this podcast, something people need to know is where the dead folks actually are in New Orleans.
Where are those dead folks?
Where do we put those dead folks?
Where do they be?
Why do we put the dead folks where we put the dead folks in New Orleans? So we're going to talk about this.
So neat. Those cemeteries. And in Europe, they do the same thing. Did you know that? In Austria, when I was visiting there when I was a teenager, they were all above ground.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so it's a cultural thing as well as a necessity. And we're going to talk about some of the kind of weird things and stories that happen when people don't bury them where they bury them, or they bury them in the wrong places. So we're going to talk about those. Yes, there are some funny stories and some modern stories about the dead folks and where they end up if they are not buried in the right place in New Orleans. So we'll talk about that coming up on Dead Folks Tales on August 17th. Laura and I are going to chat about that. So yes,
that'll be fun. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, I love hanging out with you because you're always so much fun, and we always have a good time. Very relaxed. So it'll be a fun podcast. So I hope you guys
some relaxation. We're teachers. We need some relaxation. This is our relaxing time.
This is how we relax. We drink and chat on Facebook, and we hope that you join us.
School's starting, so I'm already feeling the stress, even at the very end of July. We don't start until August 23rd. I don't go back to August 23rd. But I still feel the stress, like even a month ahead of time. I'm like...
I go back to work on Monday.
Oh,
I go back to work on Monday.
Do the students too?
No, they come on Friday. They'll be there for a half day on Friday. But yeah, I mean, we start ridiculously early. Yeah.
By my way, it would be
though.
Memorial Day to Labor Day. That would be my druthers. Memorial Day to Labor Day, we didn't have students. But
didn't it used to be like that though? I mean, when I was in school, I kind of remember Labor Day being kind of like that's when school started was Labor Day. I do not remember starting this early.
Like 5 years ago that Michigan changed their laws. We didn't start till after Labor Day. So we would plan our vacations, and it was a wonderful way to end the summer. And then all of a sudden we started getting these waivers and we just started coming back before, and we're like, what? We had planned a vacation. So our kids missed the first, you know how we are with our vacations. Our kids just missed the first full week of school.
Yep.
And
my son is 23 and about to turn 23. And I remember he started kindergarten on his birthday, and his birthday is August 19th. So even that, we've come up earlier and earlier, even since he started kindergarten. I mean, he's in grad school now, but I mean, even that, I'd say early. I mean, it's not my childhood, but it's his childhood. And so, I mean, even 18 years ago, it was still halfway through August, but August 7th is when they start. Like, why? Or 6th, whatever Friday.
So you can just kiss August goodbye.
Oh, yeah. August is done. And then we get out the end of May. We really only have about 8 weeks. The teachers.
We got out June 3rd. We get out June 3rd and we go back August 23rd. So we didn't get out much later than you.
It's not that much because we got out, the 24th was the teacher's last day. And we go back August 2nd. May 24th to August 2nd is all we get.
I'd rather go into the very beginning of June and have all of August. Because it just, Teacher talk. We should call it teacher talk.
Teacher talk on BYOB today.
Edition of BYOB.
It is. This is our teacher talk. Well, I guess we should talk about books. Let's see where's the Yes, the dreaded teacher talk. So we'll talk about what are we reading now. So that'll get us back to Michigan because your books, the book that you're reading is Michigan based.
I have a really funny one that I picked up at the store. I'll put that one first. This is a surprise. Okay, it's called Trying. I've been looking at this book at Cattywampus for years. So this is a dentist, I think from what's his name? Hugh Murphy. Can you see that? I feel like my arm locks up.
Hugh Murphy. Yeah, Hugh Murphy.
He's a dentist from California. So he has all of these things that T-Rex can't do. Okay, so here's one, T-Rex trying to do sock puppets. T-Rex trying It's just funny and lighthearted.
I love
Here,
it.
T-Rex. There's just a really T-Rex trying to do brush his teeth,
My Kimmy just now.
trying to reach a ceiling fan.
Oh my gosh, that is
That's my funny
hilarious.
one that I bought while I was at Cattywampus, and then my actual book that I'm reading is from a Michigan author, Wade Rouse, writing under the pen name of Viola Shipman. That's his grandmother. The Clover Girls, and this is set not far from where I'm sitting right now in Glen Arbor. I haven't finished it, but I'm in the process of reading it, and it's about a group of 4 friends from summer camp over in Glen Arbor that reunite when one of them passes, and they kind of rekindle their friendship because they had a falling out. And the Clover Girls, because there's 4 of them, so each leaf of a 4-leaf clover. So yeah, it's real sweet, and it's from each perspective of each character.
Oh,
so he
I
goes
like
back
that.
and forth in the first person, and yeah, it's really sweet. Viola Shipman's books are always feel good. I'd always said in Michigan. So I did ask if he was going to write one on Mackinac because it's about time. So, and then we could I have a book signing today later. If anybody's on Mackinac, anybody, come see me at the Island Bookstore at 1. But I'm going to get there a little early. About 12:30, I'm going to try to be down there ready to go. So,
That's awesome.
And I have to get my books, although my husband kind of promised that he would bring them down there for me. And what are you reading, Nola?
I am reading, well, for school, because we're considering this one for a novel study for, I know. Well, but it's a good book. I'm looking forward to it. It's All the Light We Cannot See.
Not a textbook, kids.
No, not a textbook. It's All the Light We Cannot See. I am by Anthony Doerr. And I'm reading that one because we're considering that for a novel study for the 10th graders. I'm an instructional coach, but I'm also a curriculum writer for our online high school. And so I'm working on, with another instructional coach, we're working on the sophomore English. So 10th grade English, we're looking at All the Light We Cannot See as a possibility for a novel study. So I need to read that one. I haven't read that one. It's like one of the ones, we're like 2 books out of all of our choices for 10th grade I hadn't read yet, and that was one of them. So I needed to read that to see if we wanted to use that one.
Well, what's it about? What's it about?
It
would be good for the kids.
Well, it's set during World War II, but it is 2 different characters. One of them is a little girl who's blind, who lives in Paris near the Museum of Natural History where her father works. And then another one is a little German boy who's an orphan, and he lives in a mining town in Germany. And it's kind of how the 2 of them end up kind of coming together, how their stories kind of interweave during World War II. And it ends with, it's not always happy, but apparently it ends with kind of a sense of hope. It's about the future and things.
So it would be in the World War II section of history.
Yes. Yeah. So we got that one. And I'm also reading Tear Me Apart by J.T. Ellison. And J.T. Ellison is a Nashville author. She lives not far from here, from where I am. Love her stuff. Great thriller writer. This one is set in Vail and in the middle of a snowstorm. So I thought this was great reading for when we're under heat advisories here in Tennessee. So I said, I'm going to read this book because it's set in it's an Olympic hopeful young skier is wounded, is injured in a massive crash right at the very beginning, only to find out that she has leukemia. They thought they were just fixing a badly broken leg, but in the process of that, they find out she has leukemia, a very, very serious form of cancer that is going to need a stem cell transplant. But as they start to look for a donor, things get weird with the family, very complicated. It's a little, you would think that the immediate family would be a match, but what happens when they're not?
Oh,
yes.
See, you do good blurbs. You should.
Very interesting book. So J.T. Ellison writes some great stuff. So J.T. Ellison, Tear Me Apart, and Anthony Doerr, All the Light We Cannot See, are what I've got going on right now. Are you getting rained on?
The rain words here, and my podcast says sure don't. I don't.
There you go.
Like it is. I don't feel like it's one adult. man. Uh-oh. You just never know what's gonna happen with us. Dude.
We're having wardrobe malfunctions on BYOB today.
It's an adult poncho, but doesn't fit over your AirPods. I don't know. There we go. This is Mackinac Island, folks. It'll clear up. Yeah, it'll clear up. We'll be good. We'll be good.
It'll be good. It'll be good. So you've got the book signing today. What else have you got going on? What else are y'all doing while you're there?
Besides this, what are we doing here on the island? Oh, we're shopping, of course. Buying some fudge, probably. Avoiding horse poop, which is everywhere. I always get a picture of horse poop with our feet all around it. We rode around the island, the outside of the island yesterday, and my dad, who's had a stroke and not able to ride as good, he was able to get a tricycle. So that was fun, and he was able to do the ride around the island. It's 8 miles, but it's flat, completely flat. So there's anybody who wants to ride around, don't worry about it at all. And halfway around, there's a little ice cream, like a hot dog, where they grill out and have a lot of fun. So you can eat halfway around. And my husband got here yesterday, and he's a daredevil. It's like everything completely changed when he showed up. The kids are like, Scott's here. And so we went up to the top of the Grand Hotel Hill, which is probably the biggest hill on the island, late in the dark. And we rode down it as fast as we could. You could get from there back to our hotel, which is down, right here by the marina, probably without ever pedaling. You're going so fast. We shouldn't do that. But I did it with my husband and I, and two of the 4 decided to go. And then today we're going to go back up into the middle of the island and find some more hills. And
now, is this well lit, or are you kind of just
dark?
Hoping the road takes you the right way?
It's dark. There are some street lamps by the Grand Hotel because it's a boulevard in front of it. So in the boulevard, I believe there's some. But I turned my light on the front of my phone, and I stuck it like on my phone holder, and so I had a bit of light, but the others didn't have anything. So just going
just following your little phone light down the road.
It was pretty. And today we're gonna go to the middle, which in Snow and Summer, my second book, Justine and Troy actually spent some time in the middle of the island looking for the snow in Snow and Summer. So I'll take some pictures up there. And the middle of this island is just like a fairyland. It's just gorgeous. There isn't really a clearing, I don't think, with reindeer moss here on the island. But hey, I'm a fiction writer.
That's right.
I just make it up.
We get to take the truth and bend it a little.
Do whatever we want. Yeah. So and then we're gonna take our boat out tomorrow. Maybe to under the bridge. The Mackinac Bridge is right over there. And here's something. This is the butterfly house. There's a Mackinac Island butterfly house in Bug World where you can go and see butterflies. One landed on my hat. And then it's cool because you can buy one and then you just pay once. As long as you keep this on, you can go back at any time throughout the week.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
My daughter and my dad have like a tradition where they wait for theirs to fall off. They don't take it off. And then the first one that actually literally falls off of their wrist, I guess, loses. But they have them, and they're ready to go with their little thing, that tradition that they do. So, yeah.
I love that.
That's about it.
What is the Whisper Stone? What is the Whisper Stone?
Do you hear that? Oh, it must be noon here. It's not a tornado. Do you hear the
sign?
Hear the stuff? Take my microphone out of there.
I can hear it.
It's not a tornado. It's just a noon. Thank goodness. Those are tornado sirens. But the Whisper Stone is a petroglyph that they do have them here in Michigan, a little bit farther south. And it's the Ojibwa, the native people who lived here would carve the symbols onto them. And they were sacred. I think they were used in ceremony. And you kind of, they're protected. Like in my book, my characters are all over them. I don't know if they could ever actually do that unless people didn't know about them, because they usually tend to protect them. And so it's just a petroglyph that has some some markings on it by the Ojibwa people, and then there's moss, the snow or the moss is around it. So that's all it is. It's a secret magical place. Magical things happen, of course.
Magical things happen on Mackinac.
They do. Maniac Island, they call it.
Maniac Island.
Maniac Island. There's a lot of teenagers who come up here for the summer to work, and you know how that goes. Or college kids, So we were riding our bike around last night, and we heard about a bunch of parties, and we thought we'd just go crashing, but we said probably don't want old fogies like us at their parties.
Hey, we know how to party. I mean, it's just not as frequent. Requires more recovery time. But we can totally party. You guys have had
the rain is getting a little bit worse. I might have to sign off.
That's fine. No, and you've got stuff to do.
I thought it was passing, but it's getting me wet in my books and my purse and everything. So
we don't want to get you wet. And you've got a book signing to get ready for too, so we'll let you go. It was a shorter chat today, but that's fine. It's okay. You've got great stuff to do, and you've got a family on vacation, so you guys go have some fun. Post some pictures on Facebook. You can catch Laura on Kemp or her Facebook page, and my group Nola's Second Line. And Laura, I'm sure, will be posting lots of great pictures from their adventures today. So keep an eye out for that.
Thank you for stopping by, everybody. Nice to see you, Nola. Have a good day.
Good to see everybody. Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.